Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Riverboat Rob. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm starting a new series where we look at some epic moments in bass fishing history. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1989 Bassmaster Classic. And there's something that happens in this classic. I don't want to give it up until the end, and then we'll talk about it then. But it's kind of very interesting what happens in this classic. It's in Richmond, Virginia on the James River, 1989. So, hey, listen, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Help the channel grow. Hit that like button, everybody, if you can, please. And hit the notification bell. That way you will know when I post more videos. So with that being said, let's get into looking at some of these clips from the 1989 Bassmaster Classic. And then we'll talk a little bit about what happened and why it's an epic moment in bass fishing history right after we watch this.
Amen. Here we go. Day one, opening round of the Bassmasters Classic of 1989, and I'll tell you these 41 fishermen are ready. Because this is a big one, the World Championship of Professional Bass Angling. There'll only be one winner here on Saturday, the new world champion. But it's a tribute to every one of these anglers just to be here in the test of the best. I'm Ray Scott. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back from Richmond, Virginia. Don't you go away.
The top 10 changes quickly at this second day weigh-in. Woo Dave slips to 5th. And Arkansas angler Rob Kilby moves into 2nd. But Florida's Jim Bitter retains his lead with this impressive catch, the largest of the day.
Watch the scales, folks. 12 pounds and 15 ounces. Now, folks, he's 5 pounds ahead of the second man.
With a commanding lead and only a 5 bass limit yet to be caught, Jim Bitter is in the catbird seat. But to these Bassmasters Classic contenders, 2nd is last. It'll be a long day for some. The final day of Classic 19. The last chance and the last ride to the boatyard where these pros finalize their plans.
Still a chance that my fish might turn off down there. Since they've held there for 2 days, I got a feeling that maybe they'll hold there for 3 too. We'll just have to go with the punches. And
I can win if I catch a good string of fish and Jim messes up, but I'm going to have to, Jim's going to have some misfortune for me to win, and I'm going to have a big fish even to win if he does mess up. So I'm going to change my strategy a little bit. I'm going to go and fish the best I can and try and catch a big fish by making a move. I got one little area that has the potential to produce a couple of good fish, and I hadn't been there yet, so that's kind of what I'm going to do.
Although Jim Bitter enjoys a comfortable lead of nearly 5 pounds, several anglers could bust it open if Bitter should stumble, and another challenger gets on big bass. Rob Kilby is catching bass, as is Woo Daves. But so is the leader, Jim Bitter. This is a game of ounces worth $50,000. There have been several BASS competitions where a single ounce determined the winner, or a lost fish decided an outcome, or a lost fish decided an outcome.
Hello, Ray, and all my fellow bass members. It's a pleasure to join you for this year's weigh-in at the Bassmasters Classic. After 3 days of casting and dragging spinners and spoons through the water, I'm sure there's a lot of tension out there. But for those of you who don't win, just remember, there's always next year, and there's always that one that got away. For most of us, the real joy of fishing is not winning tournaments, but spending time with family and friends out on the water. And I agree with Isaac Walton that the time spent fishing should not be counted against one's time here on earth. And it's with a rod and reel that I tend to count my blessings, especially if I'm out there with one of our grandkids or with Barbara, the only woman on earth who can read and fish at the same time while catching every word and every fish. But I also want to commend every member of Bassmasters for your concern and conservation of the environment. We all know that the health of our sport lies in preserving clean rivers and streams. And thanks to your efforts, we will maintain this wonderful sport for future generations. In 1984, I attended the weigh-in at Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I want to thank you for including me in this year's weigh-in. Keep on fishing, keep on looking after our precious environment. And thank you, God bless you all, and best of luck to all the contenders.
Subject to be like a rattlesnake. He can strike anytime. From Denver, North Carolina, Hank Parker. Hank Parker, 8th place with 16 pounds and 14 ounces. He needs 13 pounds and 13 ounces to take the lead. Hank Parker is a type fisherman who can do it. He has proven himself over the years on the classic trail. His wife Angie is supporting him. He's 36 years old. Tremendous sport. He's fishing in his 12th consecutive Bassmasters Classic. He won the 1989 Missouri Invitational Tournament. He won the 1985 Super Bass Tournament. He was Angler of the Year in 1983. He has won 4 national titles. He is a come-from-behind fisherman, to say the least. He ranks 5th in all-time money winnings with more than $300,000 to his credit. Incredible fisherman. He's got to have big-time fish today to take the lead or to get up in the big money. Now, hold him up nice and slow, Hank Parker. He's got to have a limited bass. He's got to have a limited bass. Look out now. Look out now. 8th place yesterday. A long way to go. Another superb bass. Close to 2 pounds. He needs 13 pounds, 13 ounces to take the lead. Otherwise, he's second. He can do it. Hank Parker can do it, can he? He's still digging, folks. 18! Go 18! He may be your winner.
I'm nervous. Don't do it slow. I know how a man feels on death row. I've been sitting out there for about 30 minutes. I'm about to have a heart attack. Put him on the scale, Dewey.
Hold on just a minute. We're not going to do it. Just a second.
Come on, put him on the scale.
I just got to ask you one question. You realize that 13 pounds will put you in the lead.
Put him on the scale. Let's see what I got.
All right, put him on the scale. You've taken the lead. You can notice that you're 31 pounds and 6 ounces. You moved ahead of Rob Kilby, who has 30 pounds and 10 ounces. I cannot remember in many years anyone coming from as far down in the ranks, 8th place, to take the lead in the Bassmasters Classic. Never. I don't remember. But we have another man, at least one man. Do we have one more to come in? One more man. I believe that's Jim Bitter, our leader. And Jim Bitter has got to have 6 pounds and 10 ounces to take the lead away from you, Hank Parker.
It's going to be close. I've talked to Jim. It's going to be within an ounce.
Tremendous fisherman and a tremendous gentleman. He won $108,000 in our tournament, in the Megabucks tournament this year. What's he got to have to take the lead away from Hank Parker? 6 pounds and 9 ounces. Now hold him up slow. That fish is going to weigh 1 pound and 7 ounces, maybe 1 pound 9 ounces. Add it up in your head. That fish is going to go 1 pound and 15 ounces. Bass is going to go 1 pound and 14 ounces, maybe 15 ounces. He's got to have 6 pounds and 10 ounces, and that's it. This is going to be tough. Jim Bitter, I'd like you to meet the governor.
Jerry Blige. Nice to meet you, Jerry. Welcome to Virginia. Ray,
Jim, I don't ever remember in history Hank Parker has been more nervous than he was today, and I know how you feel at this moment. I've never seen a man come from so far, but you've had, unfortunately, a poor day, and I will talk about it in a minute. But we must weigh these fish. A drop of water right there. We're going to let the governor make the call. Now, let's remember, folks, he's got to have 6 pounds. What is it? 610 to win. 610 to win. All right. Watch it. For the Bassmasters Classic 1989.
6 pounds, 7 ounces.
6-7.
To win every tournament, but you take chances in a classic that you wouldn't take in a normal tournament.
This particular tournament, it was at the James River, and this is the famous situation, the scenario where Jim Bitter had it, in hand.
Going into the last day, I really had a fairly good lead, I think about 5 pounds, and somebody'd have to have a tremendous day to catch me, or I'd have to fall flat on my face. Well, I found out when I got in, Hank Parker did have a real good day.
I would hear them say, boy, somebody could win this thing if they had a big string. And they said, how'd you do? I was, well, I got about 14 pounds. Yeah, right. So, but I did have.
That particular classic is probably one of the most heartbreaking moments that I can ever think of in all the years of classic fishing.
Oh, wow, what a interesting classic, right? Hank Parker wins by 3 ounces. Jim Bitter had the fish in the boat. The winning fish had it in the boat, and it jumped back in the water, and it cost him the classic. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. Hey, if you guys like these videos and you want to see more epic moments in bass fishing history, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And until next time, I will see you guys. Peace.
About how important these tides are, and I'm sure they are, but probably they become less important when you commit yourself to an area like you have. But have you found that it still makes a difference in your approach? The tide does play a very important part, and to me, maybe more psychological. I tend to think it affects the fish, but it may be a mental thing. I don't know. But I'd make adaptations on a different tide, and it seemed to pay off. What would you do? Well, it seemed like that last 3 hours of outgoing, the fish were really tied up against the cypress knees and the little cypress roots in the bends of the creek, and I'd fish really, really tight. And then as the tide got out, the last hour, the fish were on the outside of the lay-down logs. They were out away from the bank. And then, ironically, usually when the tide rises, they go right back to where they were. They didn't. They stayed out there on the end, and that's where I was missing them. Tommy Martin told me yesterday morning in the boatyard going out, he said, you may want to try fishing a little deeper on a rising tide, even though I know that doesn't make sense, but that seems to be what's happening. And Tommy's always been honest with me, and I tried it, and it worked. He was right, and it helped me.
Hank, did you catch most of your fish in the tournament on that spinnerbait?
Well, I changed it a little bit, Chuck. I'm using a 3/4 ounce bait, which I intended to do when I got here. But I used like a number 5 Indiana the first day, and this is a number 7 Indiana. So I changed and I went to a bigger blade when I found that the fish wanted the bait up on top.
More waking ability.
Right. And even I had been changing. When I'd wake, I'd use the big blade, and then when I would fish it slow, I'd use a smaller blade. But I knew I needed those big bites, so I changed and put number 7 blades on all the baits. I felt like it was a better chance to catch a bigger fish on the bigger bait. Now that's a good little spot right there where you got that overhanging bush and those little cypress roots there. And the way you wanted to work that bait was just exactly like that. Keep that bait on the surface. And I would make one cast like that and keeping the bait, waking the bait. And then I'd make the second cast and I would slow roll it. I never did catch a fish at an intermediate speed. I'd either catch that fish slow rolling that bait down around the roots or either waking it up on the surface. And this